Can I start, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. I welcome all who are gathered here. Now we are successfully entered into the second day of International Conference on Sustainable Development Goals in Bioscience. Now we are in the session 5th. I wholeheartedly welcome you all. Now I welcome HOD Department of Microbiology, Dr. L. Ashok Kumar Sir of Vivekananda College of Arts and Science for Women's Autonomous for guest introduction.
Good all of you. Of this international sustainable development. So I welcome Vivekananda group of institutions and other faculty of Vivekananda College.
Professor, sorry for the interruption. Your voice not clear.
Sir, it's not clear,
Okay, now?
sir. Now okay, sir. Shall we start from the top?
Okay.
Ashok,
Madam,
sir?
now it's okay. Now it's
Sir,
okay,
just,
ma'am.
yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So
Sir, we shall
good morning to all of you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, madam. Thank you. So very warm good morning, all of you. This is Dr. Ashok Kumar Lakshman, the head of microbiology from Vivekananda College of Arts and Sciences for Women Autonomous, Tirthankot. So the first of all, I welcome all the participants from the Vivekananda group of institutions and other college and industrial persons, teaching and non-teaching, and from the Vivekananda group of institutions, from all the other college professors and associate professors. All of you welcome. And so I most welcome the today chief guest, the great personality, Dr. Zaino Vasni Dejermani from the Malaysia. He has a full profile and has his PhD in biochemistry from the University Tunku Abdul Rahman in Malaysia, which is ranked top 100 in the Asia and top 2 in Malaysia by the Times Higher Education University ranking. And he is presently working in the assistant professor in biomedical sciences at the same university. Dr. Zaino has almost 18 years of professional teaching experience in teaching multinational students from the various disciplines of India and Malaysia as well. He was awarded the best student by Jawaharlal Institute of Postgraduate Medical Education and Research, JIPMER, Puducherry, India. And also they received the Outstanding Performance Award from the Pondicherry University, India. Dr. Zaino is also the recipient of numerous academic awards for his research experience, such as the Vice Chancellor's Awards for the Innovative Teacher, Professor Emeritus, the Leaf on Award for Teaching, and Teaching Innovations Award from the INT Laureate International University, Malaysia. So a finalist for the National Outstanding Education Award 2016, the Private Education Cooperative of Malaysia. Teaching is actively involved in projects such as the toxic effect of engineered nanoparticles, such like zinc, silver, titanium dioxide, and the microalgae supplements, antimicrobial properties of zinc oxide nanoparticles, and pathogenic bacteria and fungi causing the skin or the wound infection. Zinc nanoparticles, the anti-cancerous effects of green synthesized zinc oxide nanoparticles using he has shared his research findings in more than the 25 national and international research seminars and conferences, and also published 60 research findings in the debuted articles in Scopus, the Web of Science document in the journals, including publications in Q1 and 2 publications in Q2 journals also. So far, that he has been in 18 research grants comprising 5 internal and 2 external grants, including 1 FRGS grant from the Ministry of Health, Malaysia, with a total worth of the Ringgit, the Malaysia Ringgit, 230,700. He received Case and Grant Award in the International Conference of Korean Society for the Molecular and Cellular Biology in the year of the 2018, South Korea, and the Best Research Paper Award and the International Conference on Fostering Interdisciplinary Research in the Health Sciences in the year of the 2019. He has been an invited speaker for the more than 10 national and international conferences, also the servicing as the reviewers in nearly 10 international journals. Finally, he was a judge for the National Science Fund in the year of 2019 and 2020 as Associate of Technology, Innovations and Malaysia. So that I welcome Dr. Zeno was in Germany for this wonderful session. Thank you very much. I have the session to the guest.
Okay. Thank you, Doctor, for the warm welcome. Can you hear me, Doctor?
Yes, sir.
I would like to thank the management of Vivekananda College for inviting me to deliver the talk. It's my pleasure to give my talk there to share my research findings here. Madam, actually, can I share my screen? Can I share my slide?
Yes, sir.
Is it visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Is my slide visible now?
You can take it
Yeah,
to
it's
presentation.
visible, sir.
Okay. Then I will start with the lecture now. Okay. I'll start with that. Okay, so good morning. Actually, here is good afternoon. Okay, good afternoon to all the participants here. As I told, it's my pleasure to share some of my students' research work here through this international conference. Okay. Madam, my slide is moving.
Sir,
Not moving.
Moving. Okay. I just want to confirm. Okay.
Sir, you can go to PPT mode. It is
Okay, yes, madam. Okay. So today we are. So my talk is on therapeutic applications of zinc oxide nanoparticles. So we know the recent years, the nano industry is the fastest growing industry around the globe because of the industrial revolution of making numerous products. So now we talk about the nano size particle. Nano size particles are the particles basically. Yes, madam. Yes, madam.
Shall I go to full screen mode, sir?
Full screen. Oh, it's not in full screen, is it? Okay, madam. I'm using full screen. Okay, let me see. Okay, so
F5 or F5, press F5.
press what, madam? F5. Okay.
Screen is not visible, sir. Sir, are you there, sir? Yes, sir.
Madam, can you hear me?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes.
Now the screen is full, madam.
Not yet, sir. Okay, it's okay.
Actually, I
But
don't know where. Okay.
you can take the microphone near your.
Okay. Is it audible now, madam?
Yes, sir.
Is it audible? Okay. The slide is still in off mode. Is it not full mode? Is it? Ah. Okay. So now basically the nanoparticles are the particles which are ranging the size from 1 to 100 nanometer. So because we use nanoparticle due to its enhanced physiochemical properties, basically because of small particle size and high surface area. Because of these characteristics, the nanoparticles have high reactivity. Based on the characteristics, now the nanoparticles have broad range of applications in all the industries, especially in our biomedical field. So among most of the commonly used nanoparticles, metallic nanoparticles, silver, titanium, and zinc oxide are the commonly used metallic nanoparticles in the industrial applications. However, zinc oxide has got greater advantage in usage because zinc oxide has got high photocatalytic activity, and also zinc nanoparticles are highly biocompatible. That means they are less toxic to the human cells. So that's why we are focusing more on zinc oxide nanoparticles usage. We can see here zinc oxide nanoparticles has been explored as standalone agent for biomedical applications, especially on antibacterial and anti-cancer applications. And also nowadays most commonly used as a drug carrier to deliver the therapeutic agents into the target areas. So from this figure you can see how the zinc oxide nanoparticles appear. Now we can see there are numerous biomedical applications from gene delivery, biosensing, tissue engineering, and until the antibacterial, anti-cancer activities. Okay, so now we use zinc oxide nanoparticles to treat skin infections, especially on the rashes, and it's used to treat the dandruff, and also it's used as antiseptic ointments to treat the infections caused by various microorganisms. And also the zinc oxide nanoparticles have been successfully used in wound dressing because of its two characteristics. One is antibacterial property. So zinc oxide nanoparticle can kill the microorganisms. At the same time, they can enhance the epithelialization. So they can enhance epithelial tissues formation, and also it is proven zinc oxide nanoparticles can enhance collagen synthesis. So zinc oxide nanoparticles can kill the microorganisms present in the wound. At the same time, they enhance the wound healing through collagen synthesis and also through epithelial tissue regeneration. So that's why we see a big potential on zinc oxide nanoparticles on treating the wound infections. Especially we can use the zinc oxide nanoparticle embedded in the dressing materials, so that when we apply the zinc oxide bandage on the wound, it can have beneficial effects on either ways. One on killing the microorganism, another on enhancing the healing process faster. So this is the reason focus now we are working on zinc oxide nanoparticles. Okay, now why there is a need? Why we need to talk about the nanoparticles in treating the microorganisms? It is basically because of drug resistance. We know already. Now we talk about COVID-19 because of mutations. because of multiple mutations, we are facing problem now. The same thing, microorganisms undergo mutation, and so that they can escape from the treatment. So here we talk about the nanomaterials as antimicrobial agents because of growing human population and also along with the growing infections. So now we have more microorganisms and we need more agents to treat. So available medications and therapies, the presently available medications and therapies are inefficient to completely focus on the treatment strategy. And also the main problem is resistance to various antibiotics. That's a big problem. Resistance to the antibiotic also a big alert for treating the infectious diseases. That's why now we are in a situation where we have to fight with numerous microbial infections and also drug resistance. So now there is a demand for new competent technology which can overcome all these problems. That means insufficient availability of medications and also to overcome the antibiotic resistance. So that's why we are embarking into the nanotechnology. Now, so we get antibiotic resistance through numerous activities, because when you talk about antibiotic resistance, we are getting this basically the antibiotics have been used everywhere now. It's been used everywhere in aquaculture, poultry. In most of the field, we use antibiotic and we also consume antibiotic most of the time. Incomplete antibiotic treatment. People usually, if the doctor prescribe antibiotic for 7 days or minimum 5 days, people won't take. They will take for 1 or 2 days. Once the symptoms are relieved, then the patients will stop taking the antibiotics. Another one, they will skip the antibiotics also. So all these things, also will lead to antibiotic resistance. So it's again because of mutation one side, another one because of improper medication also will lead to the antibiotic resistance. We can see that globalization leads to utilization of excessive antibiotics, especially in the animal husbandry and also in the aquaculture to produce more food based our aqueous and poultry products. So these are the main reasons of antibiotic resistance. Now, okay. So how severe is the antibiotic resistance? So we can see here what is estimated by the year 2015 there will be no effective antibiotic available if no drug is discovered or developed. That is the problem now. That's where we are standing now. So now that's why there is a need to search for alternative methods for controlling antibiotic resistant pathogens. So from this diagram you can see one person who died in every 3 seconds by the year 2050. We can imagine the tragedy we are going to face, the risk we are going to face. By 2050, we are not finding alternative strategies to battle the antibiotic resistant infections, then we'll be at the great risk. That's why we are moving towards nanoparticles. Okay, basically how nanoparticles act. Now we are talking about zinc oxide, because zinc oxide is less toxic to the human cells, though silver is proven to be very, very effective antimicrobial agent. The silver is toxic to our cells, whereas zinc is an essential element to our cells. So somehow zinc, the allowable amount of zinc is compatible to our cells. That's how it cannot harm our cells. That's why we are focusing more on zinc oxide nanoparticles. So basically, how the zinc oxide nanoparticles as antimicrobial agent. We can see here. So once the nanoparticles are exposed to the bacteria, when the bacteria are treated with zinc oxide nanoparticles, so we can see here the primary mechanism, the nanoparticles can go and attach over the bacterial cell surface. Yeah, that's the first thing happening now. How? The zinc ion is positively charged. Now, most of the functional groups present in the biomolecules of cell wall, they are anions, negatively charged. That's how the positively charged zinc nanoparticles can go and bind over the cell wall of the bacteria. So what happens once the nanoparticles bind over the cell wall of bacteria, which gives stress to the bacteria. Okay, when the stress is created, that will lead to the production of reactive oxygen species. So reactive oxygen species in turn will damage the cell membrane, which will compromise the cell membrane permeability. So that what will happen, more zinc oxide nanoparticles will enter into the intracellular compartment, which will again increase the production of oxidative stress. That means we say reactive oxygen species, ROS. Once ROS are produced in the intracellular compartment, they are very lethal. They are very lethal to the biomolecules present in the bacteria, which can destroy all the important biomolecules, so that the bacteria cannot do its proper metabolism and respiration and cannot repair itself from the damage, so leading to the death of the bacteria. So basic mechanisms, the one is production of reactive oxygen species upon contact with the zinc oxide nanoparticles. The another one is direct the membrane damage, then the direct entry of particles into the intracellular compartment also will lead to the death of microorganisms. So this is the basic overview of the antimicrobial effect or the mechanism, how the nanoparticle, zinc oxide nanoparticle kills the bacteria. We can see here same mechanism. So through the production of reactive oxygen species, through the release of zinc ions from the nanoparticles, and also the direct attachment of nanoparticles over the bacterial cell membrane, all can impact the cellular function, damage the cell, and finally leading to the cellular death. So now we talk about what we are doing in UTAN. So basically we are working on zinc oxide nanoparticles. So once we produce, we characterize using scanning electron microscopy. So we can see here, so through scanning electron microscopy, we simply say SEM. SEM is called, it refers scanning electron microscopy. So we can see here from the scanning electron microscopy, we can identify the particle shape. So we can see both the spherical as well as some rod-shaped particles, the mixture of shapes, and also we can measure the particle size in one dimension. So from our recording through scanning electron microscopy, so we found the rod-shaped particles present in addition to the spherical particles, and we measured the average size of the particle to be 56 nanometer. They are ranging from 49 to 63 nanometer. And also we use SEM EDEX. So EDEX is basically to confirm what are the elemental composition of nanoparticle, because before we use the nanoparticles, it is must to confirm the nanoparticle what we are using is correct or not, and also we should confirm whether this particle is pure or mixed with some other thing, impurity or contamination. So we can see here from our thing, actually this one is basically carbon, because we use carbon tape in scanning electron microscopy. So eventually carbon will appear always. So we can see here zinc and oxygen molecules are present. So we confirm zinc and oxygen are present in the particles. So it is in the pure form. It is called SEM index. SEM index basically confirms elemental composition. Fine. Now we talk about, so we tested in few microorganisms. I'll be sharing, because of time, I don't want to bore you. I'll be sharing only 4 microorganisms, but we are working on more than 20 microorganisms. So first I talk about Streptococcus Biogenes. So Streptococcus Biogenes, how dangerous is it? It is dangerous because this infection occurs during our childhood. The children will develop fever, and the fever will automatically disappear after some time. But what happens? The antibodies produced during this infection can go and damage our heart valve, and also that antibody can damage the joint protein, synovial joint protein. That's why at the later stage, the people will have the big problem of heart valve defect. They have to undergo valve replacement surgery. That is a critical one, So this infection will come when it's being treated with the antibiotic. Okay, fine, no problem. But it's not treated. The people, because of the immunity, the children will recover. But the antibodies produced, it can harm the valve proteins. At the later stages, they will develop valvular insufficiency. That means the valve cannot close properly. Eventually, the patients have to go for valve replacement surgery. That is a lifelong problem. Once people go for valve replacement surgery, synthetic valves are fixed inside, then the patients have to take anticoagulant throughout their life, because the blood will clot inside when the blood falls on this synthetic valve. So the patients have to take antibiotic throughout their life. So that's severe this bacteria. This bacteria also can cause superficial infections. Actually, my students basically working on superficial infections, because we are planning for zinc oxide ointment to apply on the superficial skin, and also we are testing on the toxicity of these ointments on the skin cells, so that in future we don't want any problem because of application of these nanoparticles. So coming back here, the Streptococcus we tested with our zinc oxide nanoparticles. We can see here from the colony count, in the negative control with no particle, we can see around 181 colonies grown. Whereas at 100 microgram per ml, you can see only 4 colonies only. So it has showed very significant growth inhibition. Of course, we had our positive control, that's the antibiotic vancomycin. So we can see here, as we increase the treatment concentration of zinc oxide nanoparticles, the growth of the bacteria had been inhibited. So we can say that, see the percentage of growth inhibition, we met nearly 96% of growth inhibition of bacteria by treating with 100 ppm of zinc oxide nanoparticles. This is through the colony count. And by the basic one, we can also measure the optical density using the spectrophotometer. So we can see here the turbidity level decreases. The turbidity level decreases as the concentration of nanoparticle increases. This also indicates the bacteriostatic effect of zinc oxide nanoparticles. Okay, so now we can see here both turbidity method as well as by the colony counting method. So these are actually basic parameters we do. Okay, actually the one thing I want to tell here, we have all sophisticated facilities in our university, including all the molecular diagnosis, everything. But basically the research, we have to start from the basic investigations, which spends less money, So then only we can then progress to the higher level until to the molecular level. So we started with the basic parameters like using spectrophotometer and using the colony count. Then we proceed to ROS, then until we proceed to the molecular level. So here we do turbidity method and colony count method. You know, turbidity method basically it shows how much of the turbidity decrease. That means how much of the bacterial growth is being decreased or inhibited. So basically turbidity will show bacteriostatic effect, the ability of the nanoparticles to inhibit the growth of the bacteria. Whereas here the colony count will show you death of the bacteria, because once it's dead, the colony won't appear. So that's why we do both the basic techniques to demonstrate bacteriostatic as well as bactericidal effects of zinc oxide nanoparticles. Okay, so we know already the basic reason for the growth, inhibition, or death of the bacteria is oxidative stress. That's why we progress to the measurement of reactive oxygen species. So we can see here, so we use a molecular probe, DCF-HDA. This one actually will show the fluorescence when the ROS is present. Actually, I don't have a fluorescent microscopy picture here. I forgot to insert. So here we can see the intracellular ROS production increased as the concentration of the nanoparticle treatment increased. So it shows so the treatment of nanoparticles induced the production of oxidative stress intracellular reactive oxygen species. Okay, so what is next? When the ROS produced, what will happen? The ROS will cause peroxidation of lipids present in the cell membrane. We know our cell membrane is made of phospholipids. That's how it can give a biphasic nature, both hydrophilic and hydrophobic nature, to allow the all the particles to enter, all the compounds to enter into the cells. So the ROS production causes lipid peroxidation in the cell membrane. So that what happened? The cell membrane permeability is lost. That's what we are talking about. Once the particles go and attach over the cell membrane, they can induce ROS production, and eventually the ROS can cause lipid peroxidation. That means the oxidation of lipids, especially phospholipids present in the cell membrane. So then now what's happening now? The cell membrane permeability gone, cell membrane ruptures. Now the more particles can enter into the intracellular compartment and causing the death. Okay, so basically ROS causes damage to the cell surface, and also it can cause damage to the intracellular organelles, can cause enzyme inhibition so that it can completely block the metabolism, bacterial metabolism and physiological activities. And also the ROS attack DNA. So eventually the overproduction of intracellular ROS can lead to the lipid peroxidation and causing the lipid bilayer oxidation, which will cause the disruption or compromise in the integrity of the bacterial cell wall. Okay, so next we want to show the structural problem. So what kind of, we talked about membrane rupture, right? Because attachment of nanoparticles over the cell wall causes membrane rupture and also cause ROS, causes lipid peroxidation. Lipid peroxidation also will end up with the membrane rupture, cell membrane rupture. So we want to demonstrate. So here you can see on the left side, see here in A, all are normal bacteria without hitting nanoparticle. So you can see here, since there is no nanoparticle treatment, the cell membranes are intact, and you can see the bacteria are regular in shape. Come here, you can see here, there are so many things you can see here, that the membrane is already, you can see the bacteria shape changes, membrane rupture happens, and the partial broke in the cell membranes. And again, you can see here the cell membrane after rupture. You can see the membrane left over. You can see the hole in the cell membrane, the broken cells. So all this you can see under the scanning electron microscopy. So we have demonstrated two mechanisms here now. The oxidative stress also we demonstrated. We demonstrated the membrane rupture, and also we are doing measurement of zinc ion. How much zinc ion are produced, and how the amount of zinc ion relates with the cytotoxicity. Yes,
Sir?
yes, madam. Yes, madam.
So the slide is only in the second slide, sir. Slide is not changed, I think.
Oh my God. Madam, it's not changing at all, is it?
Yes, sir. It is in the introduction slide itself, sir. Introduction and technology.
Oh my God. Oh,
It's okay, sir. Not an issue. Okay.
madam.
It's
Madam,
changed
now is it moving now, madam?
No, sir. No.
Oh, so sad. Okay,
Yes, sir. Now
madam,
it's moving.
now it's moving, is it, madam?
Sir, at the right bottom of your screen,
Yeah.
you have full screen mode, sir.
Yeah.
Then if you click and if you click the bottom arrow, then it will change automatically.
I used the full mode only, madam, last time. I wonder why it was not changing. Actually, not in the full mode. Is it moving now, madam?
Yeah, it is in the zinc oxide nanoparticles.
Okay, now actually I will come out of the full presentation mode, the full screen. Okay, madam. Now is it moving?
Yes, it's moving, sir.
Now it's moving.
Yes.
Oh, okay, madam. Maybe I will do like this, madam, because actually I want to show all the pictures. So sad. Okay. Madam, now can see the zinc oxide cream, right, in the screen?
Yes, sir. Widely used
Okay,
to
madam.
treat different skin
Yeah.
conditions.
Oh. So maybe I will again go through little bit one by one, madam. I will go very fast. Just I will show the slides. Okay. Participants, I am extremely sorry. I didn't know that it was not moving. Anyway, now I am coming out of the full mode, so that at least I don't know what's the problem. Okay, now as I told you before, zinc oxide has been used. Now you can see the zinc oxide nanoparticles are used in the skin cream applications, and also it is used for wound dressing because when we use in wound dressing, it can kill the microorganism and also it can heal the wound very fast, as I told you before. Just I want to show you the pictures only now. This one we talk about why we need to go to the nanoparticles, because the available antibiotics are not enough, and also because of the antibiotic resistance we have to move into next strategy. Okay, next one. Okay, next slide. Okay, this one I talk about, we use antibiotic in all the industries, from poultry, from the aquaculture, everywhere we use antibiotics. Finally we eat it, then we also acquire antibiotic resistance. Okay, so this one I was telling about the risk. By 2050, if we don't have antibiotic, definitely it is projected that 3 people may die in each second. Madam, is it moving now, madam?
Yes, sir. It's moving, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, fine. This is what I was talking about, the mechanism. So once the bacteria is treated with the nanoparticles will go and attach over the bacterial cell membrane, so that it will cause production of ROS. We can see here ROS production. ROS production will happen. Then the excess ROS will cause cell membrane damage, and also the more nanoparticle will enter into the bacteria cell intracellular compartment, again will cause risk to the bacteria. So these are 3 mechanisms. One is production of ROS, number 2 is cell membrane rupture, and more zinc ion go inside, cause disturbance in the bacterial cell metabolism. It will block all the enzyme activities. Okay, so these are the three mechanisms. One is the release of ROS, number two, release of zinc, number three, direct contact with the membrane causes rupture of cell wall. So in our university, we produce particle and we do scanning electron microscopy. So in the scanning electron microscopy, you can see the particles here. So you can see particles both in the spherical as well as in the rod shapes. Spherical as well as in the rod shapes. So we also can measure the size of the particles using scanning electron microscopy. So we measure the particle around 56 nanometer. Okay, and also we use SEM EDX, X-ray diffractor. So this will give you the composition of the nanoparticles. So now we use zinc oxide. That's why you can see all zinc and oxygen. This peak is for the carbon because we use carbon tape in SEM. So usually on the carbon tape only we code the particle. That's why you can see the carbon peak here. So from this we know the particle we use is pure. That means it's only having zinc oxide nanoparticles. Yes. This is what I was talking about, Streptococcus biogenes. This is the gram-positive cocci arranged in chains. This bacteria causes problem, inflammation. Actually, not this bacteria directly, the antibody reaction. The antibody reaction causes damage to the heart valves. Then eventually, the patients have to go for valve replacement surgery in the later years. It also causes skin and wound infections. So you can see here the bacterial colonies on the agar plate. As I told you, we go from the basic investigation. So we can see here when there is no nanoparticle, yeah, you can see here 181 colonies, bacterial colonies. As we increase the concentration of nanoparticles, the number of colonies decreased. So at the highest concentration, that is 100 ppm, we can see only 4 colonies grown. Okay. So that's how done. This one we calculate as the percentage of growth inhibition. So we reported as the nanoparticle concentration increased, the bacterial growth inhibition also increased. The bacterial death also increased. So we can see even at the 10 ppm, we reported significant growth inhibition by treating with the zinc oxide nanoparticles. So again, I mean, the another one we do turbidity, directly measure the turbidity using spectrophotometer. This is again one of the simplest technique. It will give you indication of the bacterial growth inhibition. So when the turbidity decreases, it shows the bacterial growth is not there, it's decreased. So as I told you before, turbidity method indicates bacteriostatic effect. The colony counting method indicates the bactericidal effects. Okay, the next one, reactive oxygen species. So we do measure ROS by using a molecular probe. This molecular probe gives fluorescence when ROS present. So we measure ROS. Again, you can see as the concentration of nanoparticle treatment increased, the ROS production also increased. Even at the 10 ppm, you can see a significant ROS production. So as I told you before, ROS production will lead to lipid peroxidation. So we measured the lipid peroxidation level also. That also increased as the particle concentration increases. So we know already ROS caused damage to the cells through inhibiting the enzyme, attacking the bacterial biomolecules, and also causes lipid peroxidation so that the membrane ruptures. So that one we demonstrated using scanning electron microscopy. So here you can see the normal bacteria without the treatment with nanoparticles. Here you can see the membrane damage, membrane rupture, membrane damage and membrane rupture. So again, you can see here closely the hole on the bacterial membrane, here rupture on the bacterial surface, and you can see the ruptured bacteria. The bacteria already ruptured. You can see only the remnant of the cell membrane. And also you can see here the membrane pitting is there. So you can see all the way, the membrane has got altered its shape, broken, hole formed. So it has caused already damage to the cell membrane. So now we already demonstrated ROS production, lipid peroxidation, and also cell membrane damage. These all are to show the basic mechanisms behind the death of the bacteria when we treat with the nanoparticles. Yes. The next one is FTIR. The Fourier transformed infrared spectrum we use to find out, okay, I told you before, when we treat the nanoparticle on the bacteria, the nanoparticles will go and bind over the cell wall. The cell wall has got the functional groups. These are the functional groups will attract the nanoparticles to bind over the bacterial surface. So from the FTIR, you can see this one is a control, this one is a test. So we can see there are stretching of few functional groups. We can see molecular stretching of hydroxyl, amine group, a carboxy group, all the groups. So basically we conclude it has got proteins, polysaccharides, polypeptides, amides, alcohol groups, all are involved in binding the nanoparticles on the bacterial cell surface. So these groups or these biomolecules are come from the bacterial cell wall. This is the primary reason why the nanoparticles can go and bind. So these are the functional groups or the biomolecules involved in attracting and attaching the nanoparticle over the bacterial cell surface. So basically what happened, there will be an electrical force, electromotive force between the cation zinc and the anion groups present in the cell membrane of the bacteria, so which causes change in the membrane potential. We know each cell has got its own membrane potential. So when this changes, automatically it causes change in the membrane permeability. So it causes membrane depolarization, which leads to the membrane integrity or loss. So then we know already when the membrane integrity is lost, membrane will break down, all the things will go enter inside the bacteria, causing the death of the bacteria. Okay, so these findings actually we publish in Q1 journal, which is a South African Journal of Chemical Engineering. So all these findings we already published from this journal. Fine. So let me share about the other one or two bacteria. So now we can see here we use another gram-negative bacteria, Proteus vulgaris. Okay, this is gram-negative. Last one we showed gram-positive cocci. This one is a gram-negative bacilli. So we know Proteus is very famous for hospital-borne infections and causing urinary tract and wound infections and also respiratory tract infections. So again, we tested the sensitivity of Proteus vulgaris, Proteus vulgaris with the zinc oxide nanoparticles. Yeah, you can see here. A negative control 10, 50, 100. So the number of colonies decreased. This also showed sensitivity to the treatment of zinc oxide nanoparticles. Again, the growth inhibition graph shows here. Here, the Proteus vulgaris did not show significant growth inhibition at 10 ppm, whereas from 50, it has showed the growth inhibition. Now you know, right, the difference now. Gram-positive bacteria showed growth inhibition at 10 ppm itself, significant. In gram-negative, you can see from 50. Generally, gram-negative bacteria are more resistant because of their cell membrane structure. Okay, because of the lipopolysaccharide that you have studied in your microbiology basic. So now again we talked about the oxidative stress. Same thing, ROS produced significantly as the concentration of nanoparticle increased. Same thing, lipid peroxidation also increased. Okay, next the another one is Pseudomonas Serogenesis, which also most common bacteria causing nosocomial infections, hospital-borne infections. Causing urinary tract infection, respiratory tract pneumonia, all the things. So this also shown significant bacteriostatic or antibacterial effect again Pseudomonas Serogenesis. So we can see the growth inhibition increased as the concentration of nanoparticles increased. Same thing with stability. Okay, so to show you the same picture, yes, you can see here how the particles caused damage to the bacterial cells. So you can see bacterial cell aggregation and also the cell membrane rupture. Fine. Again, FTIR showed involvement of alcohol amine groups from the polysaccharides and also polypeptides. Okay, now I just want to show you one fungal organism, the single cell fungus, Saccharomyces cerevisiae, which is actually known for nosocomial infections, especially on immunocompromised people. So we can see here it is shown again sensitivity to the zinc oxide nanoparticles. As the concentration of nanoparticles increased, the growth inhibition increased. Again, you can see here significant growth happened from 5 ppm. The FTIR showed the involvement of the one extra group here is ergosterol, is a lipid coming from the bacteria, fungal cell wall. So you can see these are the groups involved in binding the nanoparticles on the surface of Saccharomyces cerevisiae. Okay, so you can see here typically we can see a pitting hole formation. The holes are formed on the cell membrane when we treat with the zinc oxide nanoparticles. So it's basically called pitching. Actually, you can see the formation of hole on the cell membrane is also, you can see it's very prominent here. You can see the invagination there. Yes. So here already the broken organisms with the remnant, a cell wall, and also the ringed cells. Yes, you can see the breakage of cell membrane leading to the plasmolysis of the bacterial cells, and also it's very evident here the formation of hole on the cell membranes. Okay. So with this, I showed you 1 gram positive bacteria and 2 gram negative and 1 single cell fungus actually. So there are too many, but I just want to show you the few. So basically what we are testing for, we are testing for the nanoparticle, whether it can inhibit the growth of all these bacteria, and also we are working on many fungus actually. We are working on numerous fungi, pathogenic fungi. So once we test their antimicrobial effect, and also we demonstrate their ROS production, lipid peroxidation, and zinc measurement. Actually, we measure zinc also. I don't want to put too many data here. We do measure zinc to show amount of zinc, the correlation between the amount of zinc released and the level of growth inhibition. And we do electron microscopy to show the structural deformity. We also do the TEM, actually transmission electron microscopy, to identify the intracellular damages, what kind of damages happen. So we do that. Okay, so basically here I showed you few organisms on which how these zinc oxide nanoparticles cause growth inhibition and death of the bacteria. So we do work on Cyanobacterium spirulina. This is basically to report the toxicity of zinc oxide nanoparticles on Cyanobacterium, because this is actually spirulina. We know it is basically a nutrient microalga. So we want to test when the zinc oxide nanoparticles present in this organism due to the environmental contamination, what kind of effect it can cause to the nutritional properties. So this article we publish in Q1 journal, PHA, and also we work on Hematococcus bluealis, which is also a green alga nutrient supplement This also we publish in the Q1 journal, and also we work with the Chlorella vulgaris, a nutrient microalga, to test the zinc oxide nanoparticles activity on this nutrient microalgae. Okay, so we also work on the numerous metallic nanoparticles contamination on microalgae, especially the nutritional supplement microalgae, and what kind of impact those metallic nanoparticles will give on nutritional microalgae, and also what kind of problem it can give problem to the consumers also when we consume. The microalgae is now given to even the aquaculture, even to the fish and to the poultry, and we also consume directly. All these things can finally enter to us if the nanoparticle is being contaminated with the nutritional supplement microalgae. So presently, my ongoing projects, my master's and PhD students are working on cytotoxic effects of zinc, titanium, silver on the nutritional properties or nutritional values of nutritional supplement microalgae, especially Spirulina, Haematococcus, and Chlorella, because these are the three nanoparticles are massively used in the industry and the consumer products, and they are enormously released into the aquatic environment. Now the water pollution is high with these particles. So when these microalgae grown in the industry, these particles contaminate with the microalga, then we want to find out what kind of nutritional problem, I mean, whether it will definitely affect the nutritional quality. So we want to report that, and also we want to alert if this kind of contaminated nutritional supplement being consumed, definitely it can give health hazards to the consumers. And also we are working on antimicrobial properties. We are working on pathogenic bacteria and fungi using zinc oxide nanoparticles. We are working on chemically synthesized nanoparticles, as well as we are working on green synthesized nanoparticles using herbal plants, including our curry leaves, our traditional Indian herbal medicines also we are using actually, and also we are using Chinese herbal plants to produce our nanoparticles, and we are testing also the anti-cancer properties on colon, breast, and skin cancer cell lines. So as I told you before, we are working on producing ointments or to treat skin infections. We are working on zinc oxide nanoparticles. At the same time, we want to know when the skin cells broken. Actually, it's shown there is no toxicity to the complete the full cell. When the cell is not broken, there is no toxicity by the zinc oxide nanoparticles. But when there is wound, there is a chance the nanoparticles can enter into the broken skin, can cause the problem. So actually, we are working on these areas also and testing the toxicity of zinc oxide nanoparticles on the skin cell, dermal, basically on the dermal layer cell line when we apply on the broken skin and the wound. So these are the projects going on now. So this is our faculty. So it's faculty. Our department is under Faculty of Science. So I belong to a Faculty of Biomedical Science, Department of Biomedical Science. Sorry, I'm rushing because I already missed some time since the slide was not moving. Okay, this is our very, very, very beautiful campus. This is really beautiful, I tell you. So in future, if the pandemic is over, you can visit our campus one time. It's a very, very beautiful campus. So we have actually what to say, high level, I can say high level research facilities in our institutions. So basically, I would like to chat here to the management of Vivekananda College and the faculties and the department deans and department HODs. And we are very open, and we welcome the institutions and also the researchers and academicians to have collaboration with our university in the research collaboration, in joint grants application, joint publication, and joint grant works. I'm already working with a few universities in India and few universities in other countries also. We do have joint publication, joint grants. I do have three researchers from India, from different universities, working with me with grants and also in publications with different grants. So I do welcome. It will be good. We work together in research collaborations, grants, and also in publications and sharing some research facilities. We do characterization of few things from the sample from India. We are doing now, and also for the students. Now exchange. I mean, now the study program is not possible because of the pandemic. Maybe pandemic over, then we can progress with the study programs. Maybe your students can come here for short course, like 1 month, or based on the finance, 2 weeks, 1 month, even 1 semester. They can come here. They can be in our campus to explore our facilities and also to take some modules here. And also we have masters and PhD programs. So if your students are looking for exchange for few things, we can collaborate on these areas. So these are things actually I would like to share. Thanks for listening to my presentation. So I'm giving over to the moderator. So I'll wait for your question and answer.
Thank you, sir. It's an excellent presentation, sir. And really thank you for your invitation for collaborations and student exchange programs. Participants?
Yeah, you are welcome to ask actually questions here. Actually, yeah, don't be shy. Yeah? Students, you can ask. So I can answer you. If I don't know, then I can give my email ID later. Also, I can communicate to you. You guys also can email me. So I can give the email ID to your HOD. So no questions. That means whether my presentation completely understood or nothing understood. There are two ways, right?
Any questions you can put in the chat box?
It is only 12 only in India, right? Here only it is 2:30. It's not late for your lunch. I think the some question is coming. I can't hear.
You can type in chat box.
Yeah. Madam, you can read the question for me, madam.
Yes. Sir, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, madam. Yes, madam. I can hear you.
Sir, how can we connect nanotechnology with immunology, sir? You have enhanced.
Yes, madam. Now, yeah. Actually, now the zinc oxide nanoparticle. Yes. Is there any question, madam? So I can answer, right?
Yes, sir. You can answer this, sir. Then next I'll go for next question.
Okay. So zinc oxide nanoparticles already proven. It's already used in immunotherapy. So actually, when we use zinc oxide nanoparticles along with our antigens, so it can actually, it's proven, it can increase, it can stimulate the immune response very well. That's why we say zinc oxide nanoparticles are also acting as, they are actually immunostimulant. They can cause stimulation in the immunity because of their activity actually. It's already being used, madam. It's already being used in the immunotherapy to enhance the immune response.
Any questions, ma'am?
Madam, actually, I'm not hearing the question. Maybe you can just ask them to type in the inbox, madam.
Yes, sir. They can post in the communication box.
Okay, actually, I can you guide me because I'm using Zoom first time, so I don't know how to go to the chat box. How to go to the chat box, madam? Can you guide me?
Sir, you have 3 dots, no? More. That is me.
Yeah. I see 3 dots here.
Just click that and you can go to the chat.
So when I click the 3 dots, it shows the disable video receiving and about.
You are using in
Should I?
laptop, sir. You are using in laptop, then chat with me
Yes,
in
madam.
top right, sir.
Top right, I can see the view full
Communication.
screen. Oh, it's here. View. Okay. Yeah, now I see full screen here. Okay, now I get it. Okay, madam. Here there is a speaker view, gallery view.
Question, sir. Is there any side effects of using nanoparticles over immunotherapy?
Okay, actually, that's why we are focusing mainly on zinc oxide nanoparticles, which are very compatible with the human cells. So mostly we are, the most of the studies on human cells focusing on zinc oxide nanoparticle, basically because of less toxicity. Now the toxicity effects are not yet being demonstrated actually on the human cells. But we are working on the compromised cells, whether the compromised cells, they can cause any problem or not. Still going on, madam, studies actually.
I think, Dharani, you are clear with the question, the answer. Anybody, ma'am?
Because actually when we use zinc, actually it's kind of safer since we need zinc also as an essential element. That's the advantage actually.
Best is a gold, silver, zinc, tin. Which metal will be better?
That's why, madam. Actually, so among all these things, actually, we focus on. Yeah, I got the chat box now. We focus mainly on zinc because zinc is proven to be less toxic to the human cells compared with the other metal nanoparticles. And also, when we get zinc, it is useful because zinc is basically an essential element for us. We need zinc, so it also helps to get the zinc for our like metabolisms for our enzymes. So that's why we feel zinc is very safe. When you take even little bit higher, it won't harm because it is like giving zinc supply to us.
Yes, sir. Our immune system will accept zinc comparing with.
Actually, zinc is used as basically as adjuvant. Actually, they actually use zinc. Basically, zinc is used as the drug delivering agent. Actually, it is useful to deliver whatever we want into the cells effectively. That's the thing actually. That is the function of zinc here. The zinc nanoparticle helps in taking the component into the cells. So it will deliver into the target organelles. That's how basically we are using it. That's the basic function of the zinc oxide nanoparticles. So once it delivers, it won't cause a big problem into the organelles because it is not going to work on the organelles. The antigen will be entering into the cells and it will start its own function. So wherever it is going to work, it will start its own function. So zinc will not cause a magic problem there. Yeah, actually, still nanotechnology. Yes, nanotechnology is still in research because there are a lot of advances going on. Previously, people were working on chemically produced nanoparticles. Now, because of the toxicity, because of the adverse effects, now the industry is moving towards the green synthesized nanoparticles. So we want to produce nanoparticles using beneficial plants like medicinal plants, herbal products, so that we can try to reduce the side effects if it's going to occur in future. And also, since we are using the herbal products, medicinal plants, the nanoparticles also will carry all these bioactive compounds which will be useful. So not only the nanoparticle, along with that, the useful bioactive compound also will be useful to us. That's how it is moving now. It's slowly moving from the base purely chemically synthesized nanoparticle to the nanoparticles produced using biological green synthesis, using the plant products, so that to reduce the adverse effects.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. I owe my gratitude to HOD Department of Microbiology, S. Janaki ma'am, Vivekananda College of Arts and Science for Women, for vote of thanks.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Is the screen visible?
Yes, it's visible, madam.
Okay.
Yes, it's visible.
Good afternoon to all present here. I deem it a great honor and privilege to propose the vote of thanks on this memorable occasion. First and foremost, I extend my sincere thanks to Vivekananda Educational Institutions Management Team, our founder, Chairman and Secretary, Vidya Ratna, Dr. M. Karunanidhi sir, our Madam Chairman, Managing Directors, Joint Managing Director sir, Joint Secretary Madam, Executive Director sir, Chief Executive sir, Director Academic, Principals of both Arts and Science Colleges for Women at Tiruchengood and Samigiri, Vikas and Vyas, and Dean Biosciences for their guidance and encouragement in all our efforts. Next, I extend my heartfelt thanks to all the distinguished invitees present here, accepting our invitation. Next, we are grateful and thankful to our special guest, Dr. Srinivasan Jayaramane from University Tunku Abdul Rahman, Malaysia, who, despite his busy schedule, has found time to grace this occasion. Antibiotic resistance is now a global threat, and we are in the verge of going back to the post-pre-antibiotic era. His lecture was on therapeutic applications of nanotechnology, an alternative approach to combat this antibiotic resistance. We got many useful information from your presentation, sir. Thank you so much. Next, I extend our thankfulness to all the heads and faculty members of both Vikas and Vyas, and also from other participant institutions for their valuable contribution and cooperation. We extend, last but not the least, our thankfulness to our research scholars and other delegates of our institutions and participating institutions. I owe my special gratitude to all the supporting staff, without whom this event would not have happened today. I owe my thanks to one and all for making this session a resounding success. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for all who are gathered here. The next session will start at 1:45. All of you are requested to join at 1:30. Thank you.
Sir, thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. We can.
Madam, thanks, madam. Thank you.
So once again, sir. So once again, are you available?
Yes, madam. Yes, madam. I'm here. I'm here.
Ma'am, in the chat box, requesting for your contact details. Can you share your email ID in the chat box?
Sure, madam. Sure. I'll put it.
Yes, sir. We have received, sir.
Okay. Thank you, madam. Nice to talk to you also.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
By the way,
Thank you.
my dear students, please fill the feedback forms. Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Hold on.